Welcome to Building Bridges Gateway Show. We are broadcasting from A9 TV channel from Istanbul in cooperation with WTPN and American Network. The aim of Building Bridges is to talk about issues that is important to people today, not only here in Turkey, in US, but around the globe. Our aim is to promote peace, unity, love, brotherhood across all cultures, religions, and civilizations around the globe through intellectual discourse and dialogue. As our name suggests, we aim to bridge the divide, focus on what is common to us as human beings, rather than what makes us different. All religions, cultures, and people need to be respected, shown through compassion, and brotherly and sisterly love. I believe it is only then that we can build a peaceful future. We are here with Onur, Bülent, Erdem, and myself, Oktar Babuna, from Turkey, Istanbul, and we have a very distinguished guest from US, Mr. Anthony Randazzo. Excuse me. Mr. Anthony Randazzo is a director of the economic research for Reason Foundation, a non-profit think tank advancing free minds and free markets. He specializes in housing finance, financial services regulation, and macroeconomic policy. Mr. Randazzo also works frequently on privatization, tax policy, monetary policy, and Turkish-US political and economic issues. Mr. Randazzo's work has been featured in the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Barron's, The Washington Times, The Detroit News, Chicago, Sun-Times, Reason Magazine, and various other online and print publications. Prior to joining Reason, he worked at the Policy Center in New York, as well as a freelance journalist and legal assistant. Mr. Randazzo graduated from the King's College in New York City and with a BA in politics, philosophy, and economics. Additionally, he currently lectures on Turkish politics and economics at the King's College and co-organizes an annual conference on global business and entrepreneurship in Ankara, Turkey. Mr. Randazzo, welcome. It's a pleasure and honor to have you.
Thanks for having me on.
That's a very nice CV. Would you like to add anything?
No, I think you covered it. You probably could have stopped short. You made me sound much more impressive than I really am.
All right. We will have some questions for you. Shall I start?
Please. I'm very happy to talk with you guys. Well, it's this morning for me. It's this afternoon for you in Turkey.
Well, we see a Turkish flag behind you. That's a we're very pleased.
Well, I thought if we're going to be talking about building bridges, this is one of the bridges that I have. Here in my home. I travel to Turkey a lot and like to talk about Turkey with my friends. When I bring people over to my home, it's a way to start a conversation, to discuss, to tell them more about what I've experienced in Turkey.
Well, our questions will be related to that. Strengthen our friendship and the policies to bring peace to the entire world. Now, my first question is, according to your background and expertise, you are working on the Turkish-US political and economic issues. It is a historical fact that the US and Turkey have always acted in friendly and trusting relations. We find the American people very positive, highly intellectual, very nice people, and peaceful, and you have the same aspiration with Turkey for democracy and freedom. How can you comment on the historical friendship between the US and Turkey, and what can we do to strengthen our cooperation?
Well, I guess it's a long question. There's a lot that we could discuss there. I think it's important to point out that historically the relationship between Turkey and the United States was rather one-sided. The United States was very dominant in the relationship, and I think that the United States used Turkey to a huge extent, particularly during the Cold War years. It was sort of a front line for the Western world in the Cold War. I think a lot of that really changed starting with the Özal's reforms and with the Turkish government beginning to develop much more coherence within itself, strengthening itself, stronger economy. Obviously, the 1990s were rough years in Turkey, but I think under the AKP's leadership since 2002 that there has been an emergence of a new Turkey. And that has been Turkey sort of asserting itself on the global stage, I think, in a positive way. And what that's meant for the United States and Turkey's relationship is that we are now we're now on equal footing, or becoming on equal footing. I think it's important for people in the United States to recognize this when, if Ankara decides that what's best for Turkey is an economic policy or foreign policy, it may not be best in the best interest of the United States. This isn't Turkey being antagonistic towards Washington. This is Turkey beginning to have a stronger sense of who it is on the global stage and doing what's best for Turkey, being a representative government for the Turks, not a representative government for Americans. That's my American perspective, I think, on sort of like on this evolving relationship that it's important for people in Washington to understand. I also think, though, that it's helpful for Turks to recognize that in the United States, we want to be friendly as well. We have our own national interests, and sometimes that comes across as wanting some particular policies that the Turkish people may not like. The war in Iraq, for instance, and I personally, as an American, don't like that war, and happy that for the most part Americans are out of Iraq. But that doesn't mean that if our government is engaged in particular policies they don't like, that we can't be friends face to face as individuals. We can't be business partners. We can't be academic partners. And what I personally enjoyed is I've been going back and forth between the United States and Turkey since 2006, and that was really the case. Is I was able to have friends who were Turks to spend time, lived in Istanbul for a little bit of time, and that was despite my Turkish friends disagreeing with what my government had to do. So there's the personal level, and then there's the government levels that are sort of evolving over time, and I look forward to what sort of the next step is, particularly I think on the government level, for how Ankara and Washington will be working together.
Yes.